Hello, Tony here for the Sprint1 of Game Engine 2. Back in the saddle, I suppose. Right, so let's look at memory leaks first, because I have that up. Like I clicked off of a quick compile here. Yeah, there we go. I just changed the thing and it did a thing, and yeah, yay, compiling. Anyway, right, let's take that snapshot of the heap. So there are a couple squirrely little leaks that I haven't quite figured out where they're coming from. I'm probably going to wrestle with them a little more before I start asking around on Discord and see if anyone else has had similar problems. But yeah, I've got these void, it's just called instances void. Not entirely sure. It's not a super huge leak. Or I guess it is about 4,500 bytes. It's not small. I guess it depends on your point of view, but anyway, it's bigger than the other leaks, anyway, or the other supposed leaks. Most of them are actually not. They're just from the stream. But yeah, they're kind of weird. I don't really understand entirely, and yeah, probably gonna look into that a little bit more. I assume they're well, I shouldn't assume, but I suspect that they're from the same problem. It might be something like a class like an SD class or something that I'm using, like just a standard library class that's I forgot to delete somewhere, and for some reason it's not showing the actual object it's a part of. But I think I've looked at pretty much all of these, and they're similar. But yeah, it seems to be something that I don't have direct access to the code, because if I look at it, it's like I can't even click on these and find out where it is. And I don't recognize any of these functions or names. I probably should just look up like Combase. Anyway, that's the leaks, but I did fix all the leaks you pointed out without using the resource profiler in the final from last quarter. I also found a few more that were quite embarrassing, actually, um, such as all the tanks were. Um, I think it was all the tanks were leaking. It was just like this massive amount of leaks because I forgot about the live tanks. I was perfectly fine deleting the recycle tanks, but the tanks that were in the scene, which happened to be all the tanks, unless I killed some. Yeah. Anyway, solved most of the leaks, at least all the major ones. Anyway, you don't even want to know what it looked like. Anyway, although it was a lot better than I thought it would be. So yeah. Anyway, that's the leak situation. So going into specifics on the uh, oh, taking too long already. Going into specifics from the final last quarter, we got the asset managers, right? So you didn't like the way I did the asserts. For one, I didn't have asserts on the gets because I didn't realize we needed asserts on the gets. Was it in diagram or was it in the or your lecture? But anyway, yeah, I added those, fairly similar, and I have instead of before I had on the asserts I did have, I had like key exists or key does not exist in the proper place. But instead I changed it so the constant variable that I set basically to just so that when they see the assert message will be like result does not equal or result image does not exist, so that it'll give the programmer a bit of a, at least I think this is fairly clear, because basically you're trying to get something that doesn't exist. Boom. I don't know. I think it's clever, but if you don't like it, let me know. Change it to something better, I guess. So yeah, there's that. That should give sufficient feedback without slowing the system down. Because I mean, I guess you could have like a debug message that prints out every time, but that would be that'd clutter the output and it would slow the game down. Well, it wouldn't slow the game down, it would just slow the loading down. But I suppose if you want that, I can put that in. Not that big a deal either way. Just I think this is functionally better and is plenty sufficient for the role. Anyway, if you just want to see, I added it to all of them. I just happen to pick the first one. Yeah. And I changed the names for all of them. And it's just a constant in the header file. Like image already does not exist. So basically, if it hits the end of the map, searching, then it's like, oh, I guess it doesn't exist. Or it already exists in this case. But yeah, that's just kind of a little trick to help out the user. Anyway, so that should solve, or that should explain that away. Game. Right. So you wanted me to change the game initialized to be private, I believe. So I did this a while ago, so forgive me if I'm not pointing out the right thing. But I believe it was some or all of these functions here. I think it might have just been initialized. But you told me that you didn't want that public, which for some reason I was stupid and put it in public. But yeah, now it's private. So yeah, there's that. And it works as it should. So yeah. Scene manager function private. Right, I'm just going through my list here. Right, yeah, okay. So similar situation, I was stupid in the scene manager and I put the I had for some reason I was just like, oh, it's a singleton. We must have public accessors. No, bad Tony. Don't do that. So it's now just a private and it's and the scene manager just access it through its attorney, I believe. Yeah, got this game loop here. Or not the scene access. Or no, I think it is this scene manager. Anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is the same thing. Now it just goes through the attorney. Let's not get too wrapped up in exactly all the indirections. But yeah, same way as before, I just changed it from public to private and did all the things that you need besides that. And then scene, that was scene manager. We want scene with scene here. So yeah, in the scene manager, tripping over my words here. Yeah, scene manager. Yeah, I changed. That was those functions, and in the scene you wanted initialize and end scene. Yeah, because I had these in the protected because it's supposed to be passed down to the user created scenes, but it doesn't really matter because they're predefined anyway. Basically, these are defined functions, they're not private. Both in here and in my scenes. Not that it really matters as much in the scenes themselves, like the user scenes, but I made them all private regardless because I just figured, why not? Better chance of doing it right that way, I suppose. At least the first time. Anyway, yes, you wanted me to fix the 2D draw, which is so basically I was drawing the like when I was drawing all the objects in the scene, I was drawing the 2D draw in a for loop at the same time with the I can find it here. Oh, that would be in a game object drawable, right? I think no drawable manager. Yeah, here we go. Oh, it's been a little while since I've looked at this stuff. So yeah, I had the 2D draw up here, so it would draw all the. It would call the draw function for each drawable, and then it would call the draw 2D function for each drawable. So it draw all the 3D stuff for one object, then all the 2D stuff, which worked fine in my example, but you pointed out to me the final. So, and I realized that yes, they should be separate. So now it'll run through every single drawable and draw all the 3D stuff. then it will run through every single drawable and draw the 2D stuff in order. So I don't know if that was just a quirk of that must have just been a quirk of how I had my scene arranged, or some randomness that let it work completely fine with all of the HUD somehow. I mean, I guess I only have like 2 different HUD things, and they're kind of in their own objects, so yeah. Anyway, fix that, and it still works the same. Also, one of the things you pointed out to me about leaking was memory leakage was in the inputable, right? Yes. Here we go. I'm gonna fix that. So now it'll go through and delete all the registration and deregistration commands, which, if you want to just see what I'm talking about, I've got my key registration data here, and basically it's these 2 command pointers to commands that are saved right here in this struct, and there's just a list of them, and I think it's a list. No, it's a map. Yes. So that's that fixed, that memory leakage fixed, which obviously didn't show up in the resource manager that I showed earlier. And this is gonna be a long video. I am sorry about that. Right. So there's just so much to go through. Well, I'm just gonna quickly show you. Well, obviously you can see that there was no leakage, or well, very, very little leakage, I should say. There was still some. Still not sure if that's from the demo or the engine side. I suspect it's probably from the someplace on the engine side, but I honestly don't know. It could be some list I have in the uh, user side that I cleaned up or something. I don't know. It's definitely not a class I created. It's some class I'm using. Otherwise, I would recognize some of the names in there. Anyway, yeah. So, oh yeah, I fixed the visualizer, the handling of them, because I was breaking encapsulation before, which I didn't. It took me a lot to wrap my head around it for some reason. I don't know why. Basically, this is what I had before. I was getting a command out of the vSphere, which I shouldn't have done because it doesn't own that and all that encapsulations, or it's owned by something else, and it's just being passed along for reference for other things. Anyway, so now instead I've got this, so I've got commands that yeah, it should be how the commands would work. This is something I did a little bit ago as well, so I can't quite remember the logic behind this, but basically it's right here. You get a command, you insert it in instead of doing some extra check, which and setting the color again. This was basically so that you didn't have the colors off when multiple things were activating, which doesn't really matter that much now since mostly collisions are bullets anyway. So, and the visualizer isn't technically supposed to be part of the whole game thing. So, yeah. Although it seems to work pretty fine now. So I don't know if that's how I set up the commands or not, but yeah. Anyway, it still works, and I can show it to you. Also, my demo hasn't changed that much. I still need to get the enemy shooting. But yeah, as you can see, the visualizer works as it should. Still. I didn't change any of the functionality, just the how it's set up. Scene manager. Oh yeah, that's right. Clean up the scene manager commands. This was one that I just forgot to do. Got the new up here, and before I didn't have these 2 here. So as you can, a little embarrassing. But yeah, anyway, you pointed that out on your final grading. Put that in, popped in there, fixed that, and bang, bang, bang. Let's see. Is there anything else? I think I've gone any for. Basically, I just went through this. I had a list off to the side, so I didn't have to keep referring to this. Yeah, I think other than like the demo and a couple mystery leaks, I've pretty much fixed everything. And I've done some stuff on the demo, just nothing has not shown. I've just got like some classes that need to be implemented. Like I've got like bullets and stuff now. Like I've got factories for both enemy and yeah. Anyway, I guess if you wanna see it real quick, basically I've got enemy and player bullets. I separated them so that the collision was a little more easy to debug and just so that I could do different things with the different bullets. Because I might want to speed one up more than the other, do a few other things, or maybe change their model later down the line. I've got a few things planned, but yeah, not a lot of difference between enemy and player bullet right now. Mostly it's groundwork. Yeah. Anyway, sorry about not having more change to the demo, but yeah, don't quite have that done. But yeah, hopefully that's good enough, and see you in class.